Wait, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because I think I know more about Rand than Yaron does, so let's see.
Oh,
okay.
The gauntlet's been thrown down.
Who did Ayn Rand say is the most evil man who ever lived?
Immanuel Kant.
That's right. Correct.
No, that I know. I mean, so it's a big deal that Immanuel Kant is, and most people don't understand why, because if you read Kant, there's certain passages in Kant that sound pretty liberal. They sound pretty. He's for the individual. It sounds like he's for the individual. He sounds like he's for the American Revolution, things like that. But when you actually read his philosophy and what he's trying to defend and what he's trying to undermine, he's trying to undermine the foundations that make the revolution possible, that make freedom and individualism possible. He's trying to destroy the Enlightenment, and the Enlightenment are those ideas that make freedom, individualism feasible. He's trying to undermine reason, and without reason, we're nothing. We're not. We can't survive as a species. So, and that's why she thought he was the most evil person, because his ideas undermine the very foundations of what it requires to be a human being: reason and individualism. Those are the things she's trying to eviscerate. I know you've talked about Hoffman before. So Hoffman is a modern day attempt to
Who's Hoffman?
Donald Hoffman.
Donald Hoffman.
Donald Hoffman is a University of California Irvine neurologist, neuroscientist, something like that. So I met him once, and we were at one of these conferences where you do a quick intro. You sit and you do a quick intro. His introduction was, I've just written a book that proves that evolution has conditioned us not to see reality.
Okay, that is very Kantian.
Yeah, and he is basically just presenting pseudoscience to defend Kant's position about epistemology and about metaphysics. And there's nothing original there. And he puts up a bunch of equations, and he says, "I ran a simulation, and it proves I'm right."
So Yaron is a little bit frustrated with Donald Hoffman's work.
Not frustrated. I just think it's completely wrong, and it is. And it's anti-life, anti-mind, anti-evolution. Mm-hmm. I think he's an anti-evolutionist at the end. And I think anytime you say, look, here's the important point. Anytime you say reality doesn't exist.
Or that you can't perceive it.
Yeah. Well, who are you? Yeah. What do you mean by reality? What do any of your words mean? What does anything you say even mean if it doesn't refer to something that's actually out there in reality?
Let me try to defend this point of view, because in a certain kind of sense, I hear it as being humble in the face of the uncertainty that's around us. Sort of, when you speak with the confidence of Ayn Rand and yourself, that reason can be like this weapon that cuts through all the bullshit of the world and makes us like have an ethical, moral life and all those kinds of things, you kind of assume that reason is a superpower that has no limits.
Wait, hold on.
Hold on a second. Okay, but
I got this one.
See, this is already leading to a murder by words.
Yeah,
and we've been only talking for 20 minutes.
Wouldn't get along together on an island.
We just make him our slave. We're all going to get along. He's just going to do the work.
But I'm afraid I cannot provide any value as a slave, so this is not going to end well for me.
We can provide value as dinner.
That's the problem I'm trying to get
That's a solution.
Okay, but Donald Hoffman says that there is he makes an argument that exactly as you said, that the what we perceive is very, very far from actual physical reality. In fact, we're not able to perceive the physical reality at all. And he also makes the bigger claim that evolution prefers beings who are not attached to reality. So like evolution created creatures that are basically functioning way outside of what the
okay, now I got this. Okay, because there's a lot to unpack here, and I hate all of it. Okay, first of all, no, I'm serious. First of all, when you were making that comment about how reason is a superpower beyond limit, you're being ironic, but it's true. And I'll give you one example, which is astronomy. If you look at the physical size of the universe, it's literally in one sense incomprehensible. So he's right in the sense that I do not understand, and none of us understand what it means for 93 million miles away for the sun to be. It's a number on a screen, right? That said, the fact that my mind, and I'm not one of the great thinkers of all time, is capable. But we're getting there. Is capable of appreciating what the sun means what heliocentrism means. The fact that we can, you're a math person, that you could look at galaxies and reduce it to 10 to the 64th power in terms of distance. That shows the unlimited capacity of the human mind and reason, number one. Number two is, if he says that evolution favors those who are not in touch with reality, and I don't know in what context he's saying that, because that sentence could mean a lot of different things. Evolution is what guides. Reality is what guides evolution. Evolution works because you are fitted to the reality of the situation around you. It's not that someone is sitting down and says, well, I'm going to add a fin to this animal, and that fin helps it swim. I engineer a check mark. It's that mutations occur. The vast majority of these mutations are against reality. They do not further this animal's life or this plant's life or this fungus's life. But the ones that are in touch with reality, such as, okay, it's really cold here. There's no predators here. If I could figure out, and I'm using that term very loosely, a way where I could survive in the cold, I don't have predation. It's really great. So the fact that unconsciously and mindlessly, this process can force the mutation and evolution of the form precisely means that they're in touch with reality. Now, if he means the consciousness is not in touch with reality, that's another thing that I really hate.
You're referring to the reality as like the biological reality of evolution, but all of that is based on many other layers of abstraction that ultimately has quantum mechanics underneath it all. And he's saying somewhere along the layers, you start to lose more and more and more attachment to the actual...
Hold on, can I one more sentence?
Sure.
I despise the idea. I say despise, I'm not using this, I'm not joking. And
Yes.
the idea that the reality we don't live in is somehow more real than this.
Yep.
That is a very dangerous idea to say, well, quantum works in this way, and I'm sure he's correct, and none of us disagree with that. What we perceive, macro, works in a different way. Well, that's the real reality, and this is fake. Bullshit.
Yeah,
This is the real reality. That is a different type of a subset, but no one's living there.
Well, and it's a
And humanity is the starting point.
It's a subset that has to integrate with
Yes.
this world. There isn't two worlds, one in the quantum world and one here. They're integrated. Now, we might not have the scientific knowledge to know how they're integrated, but so what? We know that there's only one reality, and that's this one. He has this difference. He says evolution matches up to fitness, not to reality, and he creates this dichotomy between fitness and reality. But that's complete nonsense. There is no such thing as a concept of fitness outside of fitness to what? To reality. The fitness and reality are the same thing. They're not separate things. So the whole way he sets this up intellectually is wrong, I think, to some extent, dishonest, and certainly philosophically corrupt. And it's Kantian. Again, he's accepted Kant's ideas, and everybody pretty much has accepted Kant's ideas for the last 200 years, and they give it a different facade, and he's giving it an evolutionary facade. But it's just a facade for the same idea, and that is that somehow, because we have eyes, we cannot see, because the light waves are going through a medium, and that medium necessarily distorted. The medium changes the resolution at which you see, right? Like if I take off my glasses, I'm seeing it a little differently. But the thing is still there, and the thing is still there in the way I see it, because the handle, I'm grasping the handle and lifting the cup. That's not an illusion. That is a real cup.
So do you think some things are more real than others? For example, money. There's a bunch of things that seem real. This is not an Animal Farm reference.
Is this going to be about love? There's nothing as real as love, right, Lex? What is love?
Love is a fundamental part of the quantum mechanics. Yes. No. No. Is there some things that are become reality because we humans, in a collective sense, believe it?
You can't believe something collectively. Now, it doesn't become
mean,
real.
What does it mean to say something's real? That is, so love, for example, love's a good example, right? Love is an abstraction, right? It's not something I can touch. It's not something I can see, but it's certainly something you could feel.
Well, it's something you can hit.
Right? And
We love differently.
I don't
You
think
and
that's
I.
true. I think I'm just more honest
can't
about
hit
it.
love. You can't. Love is an abstraction. So is love real? Yes, it's real because I feel it. It's an existent, but it's not an existent in the same sense as this cup is. So, abstractions are real, but at the end of the day, all abstractions have to be able to be, reduced to actual concrete so that you can either see.
I really don't like criticizing someone whose work I haven't read secondhand. So I want to take this away from speaking about him personally because I'm not familiar with his work. But
He's a nice guy.
that makes me like him.
I met him.
That makes him like him less. I think
Now you're back talking about fitness, evolutionary fitness.
I think there's disingenuousness when we talk about the word real in terms of ideas are real versus the cup is real, and you try to switch back into between those two meanings, and it's a little bit of linguistic wordplay that is trying to force a point that's not accurate, in my opinion.
Well, I think the issue is, and what he's challenging is, and what Kant is challenging is, do we know reality? And I think the answer is yes, we do. We know reality. We observe it. Now, do we know everything about reality? No, we can't, for example, sense what a bat senses as reality, right? A bat observes reality through, what is it?
Sonar.
Sound waves, right?
Yeah.
Through sonar, right? So it has a different sense, but it's the same reality. It's still a table. The bat's spatial relationship to the table is different than ours, but the object is still the same object.
But how do you know that's true? Are you not just hoping that's true?
But that's
or
what,
assuming that's true?
No, that's what no means. No means I have identified an aspect of reality. That's literally the definition of knowledge. Now, if you say, how are you certain? Well, that's a whole other question. But one of the reasons I know I'm certain is because this happens.
Yes.
Okay.
And I know this is going to happen. And if I tell you, if you go downstairs, you're going to see, Mr. Jones, and you walk downstairs and I see Mr. Jones, at the very least, something's going on there.